9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now live.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
morning, Westfield. It is 6:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
And you look very bundled up over there.
Yes.
Are you cold? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little chilly in here. I have to
It's
say.
well, I wore this. This was the only.
Yeah.
I didn't wear wear like a coat or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Just a sweatshirt.
Yeah, it is a little.
It's
cool
supposed to get
outside.
colder tonight, so.
Yeah, I heard it's going into the 20s tonight.
Correct.
So, yeah, bring out the... Well, of course, I knew we were going to have really great weather because I spent all day Sunday switching, getting out all the winter clothes and the boots. Hey, I found a pair of old ski pants of Gary's, and I don't think he's worn in 20 years. And I said to him, can I have these? Because, we're doing curbside lunches all winter, and I was going to put ski pants on my Christmas list. And Gary said, oh, my gosh. He goes, Tina, I don't even think they fit me anymore. And I said, they don't have to fit you. They just have to fit over my jeans, right? And I put them over I said, they have to be a little big so they can get over my jeans.
Sure.
Brought them in, and they're really great because they zip all the way up the sides. So it'll be easy to get them over footwear, I don't have to struggle. So I was all excited. So, of course, I bring all this to the senior center on Monday, and then it's, like 64 degrees out.
It won't be like that for long.
Yeah,
this is New England, remember?
I know. But you know what? We've really been enjoying it. Everyone coming through the line. We keep saying these are bonus days,
Yes.
because actually today is the birthday of my late mom, Clarissa Closey, and I can remember snow many years on my mother's birthday, that we'd be celebrating her birthday. Not a lot, we never had a blizzard on her birthday, but absolutely. This was the time of year. So to have these bonus, 63, 64, I think it even went up to like 65 or 66
yeah, it was
yesterday.
61 today.
Yeah, so it was nice. Today is Brown Bag Day, so I'll bolt out just a minute or two early. But yeah, it's a beautiful day for Brown Bag. We won't be freezing. We won't be in the rain or the snow, so we're very excited about that. Thank you to the students at Westfield Technical Academy who came over yesterday. We have the same team of 4 women. I mean, I think by now they're women. They're in their teens, helping us out. So they did all the bagging, and we have a lot of food. We were commenting. In fact, we had to put it in 2 bags because one bag, we did a sample bag, and I said, nobody's going to be able to lift these. The seniors won't. So we have things in 2 bags. So lots of canned goods. We weren't sure if the Western Mass Food Bank was, cleaning out shelves or just trying to get things out before they expire or what. But anyway, we have lots of food for brown bags. So that is 9 to 10 this morning at the Senior Center for those who are eligible and who have filled out an application. So
They could also be getting stuff ready for their Thanksgiving drive.
Well, I believe that's also true. We noticed a lot of, different, canned green beans and canned peas and things like that, but also some meat. There's some stew in a bag, which they say this beef stew. It's like in a foil bag. Karen said everybody that's had it said it's absolutely phenomenal. It's really good. Looks really good, to be honest with you. So all kinds of good stuff. So that's this morning at the Senior Center. So Pete, were there any meetings last night? What are we
Conservation
doing here?
last night.
Conservation. Always
Only
a
a
long
2-hour
one.
meeting, yeah.
Oh, 2 hours. Okay. Not too bad.
For them, that's tame.
There you go. And what's coming up? Anything on the docket for tonight that we need to know
I have
about?
public safety communications tonight. And
Okay.
then Board of Health, I believe, is back to Zoom at 6.
Yes. The Board of Health is meeting tonight. I do know that because I've been trying to get a hold of Joe Rouse. Joe and I play a lot of phone tag.
Yep.
So last week, Joe had his show, the Joe Show. And so when he came in with Chief Egloff, I said to him, Joe, I had left him a message the night before. I said, listen, I need to connect with you by the end of the day. And he said, okay, right after I'm done with the show, give me a call. I said, okay. So I did. And of course he wasn't at his desk, which, no surprise there. Same as me. Because of course, when he called me back, I wasn't at my desk. So that went on for several days. And yesterday I had to do a deposit at City Hall. Yesterday afternoon. So I go over, I do my deposit, I'm coming out, I get in my car, and I'm heading out the parking lot. And who is walking out of his car to go into City Hall but Joe Rouse. So we had our meeting out in the parking lot. Me sitting in my car, just shut off, I pulled over, shut off the motor, and I said, okay, let's have a chat. So he did mention that they had the Board of Health meeting.
Yeah, the only thing on their
tonight.
agenda really is to COVID-19 update and discussion. Everything else, there's nothing else going on. So.
Yes, but that discussion is going to be a
Right.
hearty discussion because Joe and I talked about a bunch of different things, and so I know that. I know the health department is just trying to figure it all out and what direction should we be going in. And, you're looking at trends, you're looking at numbers. So I think there's going to be a lot. Now, with that, so is that can people tune into that, or is that
that
a
one
no?
will
Oh,
be
they can.
broadcast because it's
They
Zoom.
will.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think I might try to catch a little bit of that because
I'll probably have to sit at City Hall for that one because my PSC
Yeah.
commission is at 5 and theirs is at 6, so I'm not going to be able to get home, I don't think, in
Right.
time.
Right. And now, Pete, is yours? What yours is public safety?
Public safety communications.
Are they
That's
will they be
dispatch.
Will they be talking at all about the
Merger?
merger?
A little bit.
Okay.
We're still trying to keep things, staffing levels and things like that. So I believe on our agenda we have a part-time dispatcher position. They lost some people in the part-time ranks,
Okay.
so they're trying to fill that back up again
Yeah.
because it's tough trying to staff it. And
Yeah.
the whole process for merging dispatches is probably a year, almost maybe 2.
Pete, can you just explain to our viewers and our listeners this morning what the plan is?
They're planning out, state's pushing towards a regionalization model.
Okay.
Because right now the 911 fund is supporting a whole bunch of public safety answering points, PSAPs, in almost every city and town.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to regionalize to save costs, obviously,
Yeah.
because if they have that equipment in Westfield and Southwick,
Yeah.
and then they only have to pay to service one location and maybe eliminate one station or something because of whatever,
Yep.
it saves them a couple of bucks.
Sure.
You know,
Well, you know what? I guess Pete,
instead
if
of
you're,
having one more station and then less
Right.
head end stuff and things like
Yep.
that, because there's a lot of stuff behind the actual where the dispatcher sits. There's a lot of computers behind that. If they can save the cost there, then it's a cost savings.
Sure. Well, if you multiply however many cities and towns we have, and you can do that in several
Right.
areas.
There's
then-
another regionalization project that's been going for a while now called Westcom,
Okay.
which is, believe it or not, is Hamden, Wilbraham, Chicopee,
Okay.
and I think now Long Meadow's part of them as well.
Well, the Hampton Wilbraham makes sense to me. I'm not sure where the Chicopee falls in.
Chicopee was the
see
kind of
that.
like the
Okay.
base camp. That's
Okay.
where it's
All right. Well,
located.
yeah. Okay.
But with the fiber connections and things
Yeah.
like that, you can really virtualize anywhere.
Yes.
Most states, and we don't really, we don't understand this, but most states, unless you're a really big city, you're county.
Yes.
So, like in Pennsylvania, there's 4 county dispatch centers or 5 county dispatch centers.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of cities have big, but that's it.
Yes. Okay.
So, like I have a friend who runs Berks County EMS, and he does all of Berks County. He's got a huge operation with like 8-9 stations and 30-40 ambulances. I mean, it's just a big operation in their
Yeah.
county dispatch.
Yeah.
There's no big towns there's no big cities in Berks County, so it's all county.
Yes. Okay. All right.
We're unusual.
We're Massachusetts. We do it differently.
Maryland runs on 2 PSAPs complete. The entire
Wow.
state
Yeah.
runs on 2.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see how So, in terms of our regionalization, it's Westfield, Chicopee, or
No, it's
Westfield,
Westfield and Southwick.
Southwick.
That's
and,
it.
Okay. What about the hill towns? Where do they fall?
They've been in a regional plan for
Oh, okay.
years.
All right.
Out of Mass State Police in Northampton.
Okay. So they're not. I thought some of them were part of Westfield, but no.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. So this will just be Westfield, Southwick,
Yep.
and
Eventually, they'll probably add Southampton, I would think.
yeah.
West Springfield might make sense,
Mm-hmm.
and Agawam might make sense.
Yeah, West Springfield, Agawam are usually together. Like they're kind of oftentimes partnered together. Like I know they're,
But because of
Different
where
clubs
the
and
Westfield
organizations.
Dispatch is, it might be easier to build out a complete regional there eventually.
okay.
So,
All right. So we'll see what happens.
and this
So
has been off and on for a decade.
it's been in the works for a long time.
Yeah.
But now it's happening,
The
right? I mean,
agreement's
that's been
signed.
voted on
Yeah,
and all
the
that
agreement's
stuff.
been signed,
Okay,
yep.
that's what I thought.
So now you build out integrate the radio system. Southwick needed an improvement, so they got a grant for that. And then it's interconnecting the stations, interconnecting the police CAD system, computer-aided dispatch system, and the records management system. So all those, some of them have to be merged, some have to stay the same. That process, when we did police and fire years ago, took almost a year.
Yes. Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes the database mergers are way more than the radios and
Right,
alerting systems
right,
and things
right,
like
right,
that.
right.
So
Yeah. It's a process for sure.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
So
well,
meantime, my commission exists for a while longer because
exactly.
it'll be dissolved.
Oh, it will.
Yes. The new governing body is going to be a different makeup, and I don't think there's going to be any. I don't know if there's going to be any representation like at large type thing. So
Okay. All right. Well, stay tuned, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So that'll be a process. All right. So as we mentioned before, today is November 10th, and besides my late mom, who would be an infamous birthday, I guess, there are some famous birthdays. My mom was great. My mom was. I have to just spend 30 seconds discussing my mother because it is her birthday. She would have been 94 today. It's really interesting because my mother was absolutely the caregiver of the family. I mean, when we were kids, we did not have colds and flu. We had things like rheumatic fever and meningitis and that kind of stuff. That's what. So my mother
you get hit with all the goodies.
We did. My brother had a bone tumor. I had meningitis when I was in middle school. My youngest brother Steve, had rheumatic fever and was home in bed for a year when he was in first grade. Try to keep a first grader
Sure, yeah.
in bed. And at that time, of course, this was back in the 60s. So there was, you can't move, don't do this. We had to carry him everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was quite the ordeal. But anyway, and then my mother was caregiver for her parents and her in-laws and everyone else.
Isn't
And
it?
it was really amazing that out of all of those people, my mother, who took care of everyone else, was the one who died. She was 82 when she died. Everybody else lived to be like 84, 85. I always thought that was ironic that she took care of everyone, but then,
Yeah,
but the one thing, it was interesting, the one thing about my mom's passing was that it was very, very sudden. It wasn't, she literally, we had gone down to visit a few weeks before. She had, put breakfast on the table and, we assume it was a massive heart attack. So it was very, very quick, very unexpected. Did not, see that coming. But that's, kind of the way we all want to go, I think.
That was my dad.
Just very... But my mother was ahead of her time, with things like nutrition and things like that. I was eating whole wheat bread when I was in first grade, and everybody else was, peanut butter and jelly on white Wonder bread and things like that. And the whole exercise. I can remember as a kid, using the soup cans and doing the exercises out in the backyard and stuff. So God bless her. She was an amazing caregiver. But there are some other famous birthdays today. It is the birthday of Dave Loggins, singer-songwriter born on this date in 1947 in Mountain City, Tennessee. He's 74 years old today. Dave Loggins is best known for his 1974 song composition, Please Come to Boston, which was a number 5 popular music success in the United States. He was inducted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1995. He's the second cousin of singer-songwriter Kenny Loggins, although they had never met until later in their professional careers. I thought that was really interesting, that they had never met until later on in life. Dave Loggins also wrote the song Pieces of April for the band Three Dog Night, which was a top 20 success during 1973. He has written material for Tanya Tucker, Winona Judd, Reba McEntire, Billy Ray Cyrus, Alabama, Toby Keith, Kenny Rogers, and Juice Newton. So he's done a lot of songwriting, probably more songwriting than singing that we would know him for.
Yep.
In 1984, he recorded Nobody Loves Me Like You Do, a duet with Anne Murray, which scored #1 on the Billboard Hot Country singles chart. Loggins and Murray were named Vocal Duo of the Year at the Country Music Awards ceremony in 1985. One of Loggins' most famous musical compositions is Augusta, which he wrote in 1981 while visiting the Augusta National Golf Club. The following year, CBS began using the song as a theme in its coverage each year of the Masters Golf Tournament.
Cool.
I thought that one was kind of a little cool piece of trivia.
Yeah.
So, happy birthday to singer-songwriter Dave Loggins. And in honor of his birthday, we're going to take our first break and listen to that duet that I told you about, Nobody Loves Me Like You Do, that he sings with Anne Murray. It is 6:16. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. We'll be back after a break.
Like a candle burning bright, love is glowing in your eyes, a flame to light our way that burns brighter every day. Now I have you, and nobody loves me like you do. Like a leaf up on the wind, I could find no place to land. I dreamed the hours away and wondered every day, do dreams come true? Nobody loves me like you do. What if I never met you? Where would I be right now? Funny how life just falls in place somehow. You touched my heart in places that I never even knew. Nobody loves me like you do. I was words without a tune. I was a song still unsung, a poem with no rhyme, a dancer out of time. But now there's you, and nobody loves me like you do. What if I never met you? Where would I be right now? Funny how life just falls in place somehow. You touch my heart in places that I never even knew. Nobody loves me. Nobody loves me. Nobody loves me like you do. Nobody loves me like you do.
Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:21. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So, Pete, did you have a good weekend? Did you work this weekend? Or,
Yes.
Yeah, you were up at Mount Holyoke?
Yes. Yep. Saturday,
interesting?
we were going to go out with Rick Barry and his girlfriend Michelle to the Mick and see his nephew Tim Cullinan play. But you can't get a table at the Mick because they're only open from like 5 to 9.
Now, what is the Mick? Where
It is
is
the
Mick?
bar in the Delaney house.
Oh, okay.
But they're only open from like 5 to 8.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
I mean, like literally, that's
Yeah,
all they're open
yeah,
now. So we couldn't get a table till like 7:30. So we ended up going to the Crest Room over in West Springfield,
Oh, yeah.
and they had some music playing there. We had a great meal and just
Good.
hung out with Rick and Michelle.
Yeah, good. New owners over at the Crest. Well, probably not as new, but they've just over the last year, I think they took over.
Yeah.
From Bob Fasty. So yeah, good place. Yes, we actually did during COVID. We've done some takeout from the Crest.
Good
They were
barbecue.
doing some. Yeah, good for you. Well, thanks for supporting those of us in West Side.
Well, we needed a place to go. 'Cause
Yeah.
we literally drove there. We tried to get something online. It wasn't until 7:30. It was the first time they had an opening.
Yes.
Then we tried driving there to see if we could sneak in, and
Yeah.
nope. They're
Yeah.
like, nope.
You know, and I think
I think it's lack of staff.
I was just going to say the same thing, Pete.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm hearing from the restaurateurs and, people in the hotel business and all over the place is just, you can't get staff. I mean, the senior center directors have openings and you can't get staff. I mean, we've never had openings where, somebody's looking for a program director and they've been looking for 2 months. That
Can I
has
throw
not
the easy
happened,
shot
but-
out there?
Go ahead.
But the federal government says the unemployment rates are going down. Right. Look around, folks. I can't. I talked to Skyline. They're like, we can't get anybody to
You can't get
come in.
help.
Yeah.
You can't get help. And that's why these restaurants and the
crazy.
stores, some of the stores, I'm thinking, why are they closing at 7 o'clock at night? Well, because if
They have no help.
they don't have help. You
Yeah.
can't open a store if you don't have help. You can't you can't have a restaurant
Convenience
open
stores are
if you don't
getting
have staff.
hard hit.
Are they?
And they're usually pretty tight knit. Well,
Yeah.
it's a lot of
Yes.
immigrant families
Yes.
that are,
Yep.
and they can't even get help.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like you
It's,
see the old Dairy Mart that used down the street in the plaza down here.
Mm-hmm.
That used to be open pre-COVID at like 5:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
and now it's not open till like 8 or 9.
Yeah. Yes.
The Mobile Mart at Franklin and Elm.
Yeah.
Sometimes they close for a couple days because they don't have anybody.
Wow.
Like you'd see in the middle of the week, they'd be closed.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy times out there.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So that was your Saturday experience, huh?
Sunday, I just went to go to my brother's, watch a little football, and do that
Yeah.
stuff. So nothing major.
Yeah. How about those Patriots? We're hanging right in there. I'm impressed with Mac Jones. I like him.
And we did a game, football game, high school playoffs.
Oh. Ooh.
Westfield defeated Fitchburg 7-6.
Wow.
Yes.
So now what's next for them?
They traveled to Plymouth on
Okay.
Friday night. I
Okay.
won't be around, so we can't.
Okay. Yeah.
And I only had one kid show up to help me, so I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not
Yeah.
traipsing all across the state to do all the setup
Yeah.
myself and have one kid. No.
Yeah. That's yeah. And it's a hike. I know.
Yes,
Grace,
it's a haul.
Grace used to live in Plymouth, so we made many trips out there.
Yeah, my cousin was like, "Hey, come out, you
beautiful.
can stay at my
Yeah.
house," and I'm like, "I got a kid with me, I can't."
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So if I was just going by myself, if we had other transportation or other people wanted to go,
Yeah.
I'd
That
have
would
a
have
place
worked,
to
right?
crash.
Yeah.
But just me.
All right. It is November 10th. It's the birthday of, we'll do another famous birthday here, of Miranda Lambert, country singer and songwriter, born on this day in 1983 in Longview, Texas. Miranda Lambert is 38 years old today. She started out professionally in early 2001 when she released her self-titled debut album independently. 2 years later, 2003, she finished in third place on the television program Nashville Star, a singing competition which aired on the USA Network. Outside her solo career, she is a member of the Pistol Annies, formed in 2011 alongside Ashley Monroe and Angelina Presley. Lambert has been honored by the Grammy Awards, the Academy of Country Music Awards, and the Country Music Association Awards. She's been honored with more Academy of Country Music Awards than any artist in history. Albums include Kerosene, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Revolution, and Platinum. Miranda Lambert also has been involved in a number of business ventures, including a shoe and boot line for DSW, her own clothing line titled Idlewind, a brand of wine, and the Pink Pistol Boutique in her hometown of Lindale, Texas. In May of 2021, Lambert became the first female artist to open her own bar in the Lower Broadway Entertainment District of downtown Nashville.
Didn't get a chance to go in, but we walked by it.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because you were just in Nashville.
Although, what's her name from the Whiskey Traveler, like, spent hours in there taking pictures with everything. The lead
Really?
singer. Oh, yeah. She loves Miranda Lambert.
Well, named Casa Rosa, Spanish for Pink House, and opened in partnership with TC Restaurant Group, the 17,400 square foot Tex-Mex themed establishment features live music on 3 of its 4 stories, plus a rooftop bar, and is decked out in mostly pink decor and various memorabilia from Lambert's career.
Yep.
So it sounds like a fun place to go.
All the honky tonks are pretty cool places to go.
Yeah.
Rooftop bars are fun, though.
Oh, that would be a blast. I think
Yeah.
that would be a real blast. So a happy 38th birthday to Miranda Lambert. And it is November is Military Family Month, so there's all kinds of stuff going on. Obviously, tomorrow is Veterans Day, and just a reminder that the city offices are closed on Veterans Day. The Senior Center will be closed tomorrow as well.
Some of us will be working.
Yes, some of us will be working.
I got 2 events
We
to cover.
know
Kenny's
that.
covering one.
Yeah.
We have 3 events tomorrow. We have the parade.
And
we
what
have
time is the parade? Do we know?
10 or 10:30.
Okay.
I'm going to be set up as soon as Bobby G still wants to do a show tomorrow, so
Oh, wow. Okay.
9 o'clock, and then I'm zipping over to my spot
Okay.
to set up for the parade.
And where does the parade
Goes from
start?
Westfield Bank to Parker Park
Westfield Bank
on Elm Street.
on Elm to Parker Park. Got it. Okay.
Kenny's covering the ceremony at Parker Park, and then there's dedication for an American Legion post that is no longer with us. We had 2 posts in Westfield,
Yeah.
128 and 454. 454 is now gone, so they're dedicating a plaque, I believe, at City Hall for that.
Okay. Wow. Well, yeah, there is a lot going on. I know there's a lot going on because, of course, we share our building with Julie Barnes and James Jordan from Veterans Affairs, so I know that there's a lot happening there.
Yeah, she's been really good about posting stuff, so I reposted her calendar of events.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, Pete, in doing famous birthdays, I really have to mention this because how ironic is this? Julie Barnes, Director of Veteran Services, her birthday is tomorrow.
It's Veterans
Her
Day?
birthday is on Veterans Day. Is that amazing or what? And of course,
That's
Julie is
little
a
crazy.
veteran herself. So I know. I always thought that was so cool. November is Military Family Month. The observance of Military Family Month recognizes the commitment and dedication these families make to their service members. Their sacrifices make it possible for our military to remain organized and strong. While servicemen and women are actively serving, deployed, or training, their families provide a vital foundation at home that allows confidence in the field. Spouses and children are often separated from their service member for long periods of time over great distances. Communication can be patchy and under stressful conditions, and they frequently move, uprooting children and jobs. But military families are adaptable. During November, the country honors the military families who make the United States Armed Forces strong. How to observe Military Family Month? I like some of these ideas. Thank a veteran, of course, active duty, reserve, or National Guard service member or family member for their service by giving back. Ask your military families how you can support them. Adopt a military family for the holidays. Offer to run errands for military spouses who may have their hands full with their children or even their pets. Volunteer to donate services to military organizations. And the history of this day of Military Family Month is that the Armed Services YMCA, along with the U.S. government, established Military Family Month in 1996. And each year, the president declares the month through a signed proclamation. So again, I like some of the ideas, especially about, kind of adopting them, helping them out. I think I've have friends who are, I worked with a woman, and I can remember when her husband and his brother, they were twins, and they were both in the military. She's got 2 little kids at home, and trying to do the whole, and no family in the area because again, they keep getting relocated, so they're not necessarily close to family. So if we can help out, let us do so. All right, it is 6:31. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. In honor of the 38th birthday of Miranda Lambert, we're going to listen to her song Kerosene. We'll be back in just a minute.
I'm waiting on the sun to set, 'cause yesterday ain't over yet. I started smoking cigarettes, there's nothing else to do, I guess. Dusty roads ain't made for walking, spinning tires ain't made for stopping. I'm giving up on love, 'cause love's giving up on me. Well, I gave it everything I had, and everything I got was bad. Life ain't hard, but it's too long, living like some country song. Trade truth in for a lie, cheating really ain't a crime. I'm giving up on love, 'cause love's giving up on me. Forget your high society, I'm soaking it in kerosene. Light 'em up and watch them burn, teach 'em what they need to learn. Hot. Dirty hands ain't made for shaking, ain't a rule that ain't worth breaking. Well, I'm giving up on love, 'cause love's giving up on me. Now I don't hate the one who left, you can't hate someone who's dead. He's out there holding on to someone, I'm holding up my smoking gun. I'll find somewhere to lay my blame the day she changes her last name. Well, I'm giving up on love, 'cause love's giving up on me. Well, I'm giving up on love, hey, love's giving up on me.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Join us the 3rd Wednesday of every month with Selectman Joe Didi and his take on everything Southwick.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So let's talk about Medicare open enrollment. That seems to be on everyone's mind these days, including all of these commercials that we're seeing on television and everything that my seniors are getting bombarded with in the mail. So here's what's happening, folks. So Medicare open enrollment goes between October 15th and December 7th. So we still have almost a whole another month of the joy of Medicare open enrollment. And this is specifically for people, for Medicare Part D, people who are in traditional Medicare with your Part D drug plan. What you need to do is make sure that you know the list of drugs that you're taking. Look at your Medicare plan and see if whatever you're on now is going to continue to cover all those medications. If it is, you're fine. You don't have to do anything. If you don't do anything, you're just going to roll over into the same plan that you've been in. If your Medicare plan has changed and they are not going to cover some of the medications that you're taking, and you would like to kind of get that reviewed, you have a few options. You can do it yourself. There's a lot online that if you are, somewhat computer savvy, that you can do yourself. At this stage of the game, Karen Noblet is not accepting any calls. We're not putting through any new calls for people right now until she catches up with all of those people that she's currently working with. And so what we had started doing last week was we were referring people to the regional Shine office because they have 15 Karen Noblets up there doing this Medicare open enrollment. We found out yesterday that the regional Shine office is no longer accepting calls because they too are completely booked, completely inundated. So we are giving out the central Medicare number. And Karen said they're actually very good at Medicare. They'll set up an account for you, even if you aren't computer savvy. They'll do it for you. They'll help you to figure everything out. And please realize, I think part of the reason that people want so desperately to work with Karen is because they want to do this face to face. But what we keep telling people is Karen's not doing any of this face-to-face. So no matter who you work with, whether you work with Karen or whether you work with the regional, if you got an appointment with the regional office or the central, it's going to be a telephone call anyway. There's going to be a lot of back and forth. Karen is using, we're using the Dropbox and we're doing things by email and by regular mail and by telephone. But there's no face-to-face anyway, so don't feel that you're missing out on that. We'll see where things stand next week. If Karen catches up and can begin accepting new calls again, then we will begin that process. But we didn't want people to wait. So I know that a lot of our folks did call and get appointments with the regional office, which was wonderful. And things have started to slow down. I mean, I think a lot of people have been helped. A lot of people are just sticking with their plan because they went through the list and said, nope, everything that they covered last year that I'm taking, they're covering again this year. So I'm good to go. So it's not. But the other thing to remember too is that some folks are on a Medicare HMO or PPO plan. Those plans, typically you don't have to do anything until sometime in January. The deadline for changing those plans is not December 7th. It's sometime in January. In fact, we just got something from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, and 2 of the HMOs, I think, are going to be dropped. So they're giving people until the end of February to make some changes. So we will have time for that, and Karen will be available. And she's actually kind of separated out some of the people who have called, and Karen said, no, we don't need to do anything with you right now, so I will work with you in January when things calm down a little bit, and then we have some time to do all that. So I think, again, folks, I can't stress enough, we know that you're getting bombarded on television. If you fall into this zip code, call us. And a lot of the ways that people are getting sucked into this is, if you want a dental plan, if you want to plan for, glasses and eye exams, because that traditionally is not covered under regular Medicare. But most of those ads on television, they're insurance salesmen, and they get paid. Karen was telling me they get paid anywhere from $500 to $1,000 for every person that they can sign up for their program. So there's definitely an incentive for the salesman.
Sure.
So you really want to be really careful. But if you don't remember anything else, do not, under any circumstances, give out your Medicare number. Okay, unless you know the person you're working with. If you initiated the phone call, if it's Karen or if it's somebody at the regional Shine office and you called them and they're working with you, then that's fine. But if you're getting a cold call from somebody saying, hey, I think I can save you money on your Medicare, I just need to know what the number is and I'll plug it into my computer, we'll figure it out. Do not give away your Medicare
Click.
number. Yeah, exactly. Click. Just hang up. You don't even have to say goodbye. You don't have to say, I don't want to talk to you. Just hang up the phone. And the stuff that you get in the mail,
Here's what they should hear.
Shred it.
Here's what they should hear if you get a cold call.
There it is, Pete. Thank you. I couldn't have said it better myself. All right. And also on our website, if you go into the city website and under departments, click on Council on Aging, there are the Medicare and You educational videos. So for those of you who are computer savvy, those videos are really helpful and just do a nice job of
You realize kids nowadays don't even know what that sound is?
Yeah, no. They don't. You're right, Pete. But people
Because of
watching this
these,
show do.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't because of cell phones. Yep, exactly. They don't. That's so funny. We've had so many conversations at the senior center about, regular phones and party lines. I mean, we used to have a party line. Lots of people had party lines, where families shared phone lines. There weren't a lot of phone lines. And of course, kids have no idea what that. They don't even know what a landline is, never mind a party line.
Yeah, you talked to, there was a video of some little kid, and they showed him a telephone in a hotel room, and the kid didn't know what it was.
Yeah, like, what do I do with that?
Yeah.
What is that?
What is that?
What is that strange object? Okay, let's do a few more birthdays. November 10th, 1969, in Everett, Massachusetts. Ellen Pompeo, actress and producer, was born. She's 52 years old. Ellen Pompeo moved to Miami and then New York City, where a casting director discovered her and signed her for an ad campaign for L'Oreal. She made her screen debut with NBC's legal drama, Law and Order. A lot of actors and actresses got started on the original Law and Order series. Then she guest starred in other television shows, including the comedy Strangers with Candy, the medical drama Strong Medicine, and the sitcom Friends. She made her feature film debut in 1999 with the romantic comedy Coming Soon, and went on to play minor roles in films. In 2005, Pompeo was cast in ABC's popular medical drama Grey's Anatomy and gained worldwide recognition for her portrayal of the title character, Dr. Meredith Grey. The role on the long-running series earned her a Screen Actors Guild Award. The character became widely popular, making Pompeo one of the most renowned television actresses. In 2016, she was ranked 4th in the list of highest-paid television actresses by Forbes, with earnings of $14.9 million. She became the 3rd highest-paid female and the fifth highest-paid actor overall in 2018, with earnings of $23.6 million. She was also the highest-ranked actress from a drama series on the list. So, happy 52nd birthday to Ellen Pompeo. Who knew? It is also, this is one of my favorite actors, it is also the birthday of actor Hugh Bonneville. He was born on this day in 1963 in London, England. He's 68 years old today. He's an English actor, and he is best known for portraying Robert Crawley, Earl of Grantham, in the historical drama series Downton Abbey, which ran from 2010 to 2015. He repeated the role in the 2019 Downton Abbey film. Hugh Bonneville's performance on the show earned him a nomination at the Golden Globes and 2 consecutive Primetime Emmy Award nominations, as well as 3 Screen Actors Guild Awards. He also appeared in the films Notting Hill, Iris, The Monuments Men, and Paddington. He's appeared in countless other films, and in 2018, he succeeded Julie Andrews as host and narrator of the annual From Vienna, the New Year's celebration episode of Great Performances, broadcast on New Year's Day on PBS in the United States. So happy 68th birthday to Hugh Bonneville, i.e. Robert Crawley from Downton Abbey. And all those Downton Abbey fans will certainly know who he is. You know what? It's time to take a break. I didn't realize it's 6:45. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC cable channel 15. So I found this song. It's by Mary Gauthier. It's called Bullet Holes in the Sky. It's just a really interesting song for Veterans Day. It was written for Veterans Day, and she is a veteran, so let's listen.
9th of November down in Nashville, Tennessee. Free breakfast at the Waffle House if I show 'em my ID. A parade up on the riverfront, you can hear the trumpets play. Hands on hearts, the color guard kicks it off on Veterans Day. And they thank me for my service and wave their little flags. They genuflect on Sundays, and yes, they'd send us back. But I believe in God and country, and in the angels up on high, and in heaven shining down on us through bullet holes in the sky. Waitress asked me how I'm doing, but I don't know what to say. I was thinking about the battlefield, the night I learned to pray. Marchers make their way down Main Street, the crowd begins to cheer. I feel my chest explode as my eyes fill up with tears. They thank me for my service and wave their little flags. They genuflect on Sundays, and yes, they'd send us back. But I believe in God and country, and in the angels up on high, and in heaven shining down on us through bullet holes in the sky. Oh, Jesus said, forgive them, they know not what they do. And he's here with me this morning, and his words still ring true. So I hang my head and pray for those we lost and those who remain. As the clouds burst over Nashville, it begins to rain. And they thank me for my service and wave their little flags. They genuflect on Sundays, and yes, they'd send us back. But I believe in God and country, and in the angels up on high, and in heaven shining down on us through bullet holes in the sky. And in heaven, shining down on us through bullet holes in the sky. Oh,
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 at 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:51. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in this what has become this chilly studio, Pete, with producer Pete Coles.
I'm okay. What does it say on
Yeah.
what does it say on the clock thingy? The one over by the TV, big TV.
Well, it says 72. I find that hard to believe. You know
Well,
what?
probably
It was.
is.
I mean, it was comfortable when I came out. I just feel like it's getting a little cooler. But
Feels like the air handling
whatever.
system came on.
Yep, maybe. So maybe that's going to start to drop. But anyway, I mean, it's fine. It's okay. It's not
Yeah.
freezing or anything. But all right, November 10th is Forget Me Not Day. So let's talk a little bit about that. This day reminds Americans of the sacrifices returning soldiers made of body, blood, and limb. Created in 1921, the day reminds Americans that National Forget Me Not Day originally raised funds for services of returning injured soldiers. At the time, the existing hospitals were insufficient to support the numbers of returning disabled veterans. The Forget-Me-Not is a flower symbolizing remembrance. The day serves to honor all past and current United States military veterans who bear the permanent scars of battle. Forget-Me-Not Day harkens back to World War I. At that time, wounded soldiers returned requiring continued care long after the war ended. While the wounded veterans' plight was not new, no services existed to treat their needs. Additionally, the government was unprepared for the number of returning wounded. Very few services and organizations existed to provide the care and support the veterans needed. Eventually, a movement to remember and deliver services to returning soldiers began in earnest in 1921, and that movement began thanks to one injured soldier. Injured on November 10, 1918, Robert Marks returned to the United States to heal from his injuries soon afterward. Since he practiced law before entering the military, Marks took up his practice once more. Soon he was elected judge, and before long, his interest in Veterans Affairs became apparent. From fundraising to speeches, Marks made the rounds. When in 1920 the Disabled American Veterans of the World War was founded, Judge Marks became the first leader of the organization. In 1922, the first official Forget Me Not Day fundraising campaign was launched by the organization on November 11th. Throughout the 1920s, the organization selected several days in November to observe National Forget Me Not Day, including November 11th. However, the day is now well established as Veterans Day or Armistice Day. And it's interesting for those of us in the field of rehabilitation. Rehab really started, PT, OT, speech therapy, all of those things, and services for the blind, the National Foundation for the Blind. All of that started after World War I, and that was the reason, because we had a lot of veterans who were returning. They had lost limbs, they had lost their hearing, they were blind. There were all kinds of issues, and it was this sudden influx that we weren't really prepared for. So if you go back to the history of rehabilitation in this country and a lot of the services that we provide today, it was really started right after World War II. So an important day, Forget Me Not Day, is on this day, November 10th. Okay. Also, we have a couple more birthdays. And I just also want to mention that second hour, our guest will be Marianne Shelb. Marianne works for Jewish Geriatric Services, and we're going to discuss the Life Care Campus of Care, so that whole concept. So we'll be talking to Marianne a little bit later. It is the birthday of actress and singer Mackenzie Phillips. She was born on this day in 1959 in Alexandria, Virginia. She's 62 years old today. She's the daughter of John Phillips, who sang with the Mamas and the Papas, and his first wife, Susan Stewart Adams. At age 12, Mackenzie Phillips formed a band with 3 of her classmates and was spotted by a casting agent during one of their performances. She was given an audition for a role in the 1973 film American Graffiti, which she won. She won the audition. She was 12 years old during the filming of American Graffiti and 13 when the movie was released. She was cast as Carol Morrison, a young girl accidentally picked up by a hot-rodding teenager, John Milner. Phillips gained stardom in the 1970s when she played boy-crazy teenager Julie Cooper on the long-running television show One Day at a Time, for which she earned $50,000 a week, which by today's standards would equal $240,476 a week, which is an amazing salary.
Right.
During the show's third season in 1977, Phillips was arrested for disorderly conduct. Because of her drug and alcohol abuse, the producers ordered her to take a 6-week break to overcome her addiction, but ultimately they were forced to fire her in 1980. From the mid-'80s to the early 90s, Mackenzie Phillips performed with a reformed version of the Mamas and the Papas known as the New Mamas and the Papas. And in 1999, she co-starred in the Disney Channel series So Weird, playing a fictional rock star named Molly Phillips. Mackenzie Phillips guest starred on episodes of ER, Without a Trace, Seventh Heaven, Cold Case, and Beverly Hills 90210. So happy 62nd birthday to Mackenzie Phillips. I think at the stage of the game, she has straightened out the drug and alcohol issues. And finally, it is the birthday of NFL coach Michael John McCarthy. He was born on this day in 1963 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He is 58 years old today. Mike McCarthy is an American football coach who is currently the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys of the National Football League. So we see him a lot on the sideline there with Dak Prescott, quarterback from Dallas. But from 2006 to 2018, he was the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. In 2011, he led the Packers to a win in Super Bowl 45 over his hometown Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike McCarthy was previously the offensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers and the New Orleans Saints. During his 14 seasons as head coach in the NFL, Mike McCarthy has an overall regular season record of 131 wins, 87 losses, and 2 ties. He is among the only 4 head coaches, which include himself, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, and Bill Belichick, to lead one franchise to 8 straight playoff appearances. In all-time wins for leading the Packers, McCarthy is second only to Curly Lambeau. So, happy 58th birthday to Mike McCarthy, NFL coach. Okay, those are all my wacky famous birthdays.
There you go.
Good. All right, couple announcements before we take our top of the hour break. So, for the first announcement is the week before Thanksgiving curbside dinner, which we are holding next Wednesday, a week from today, is sold out, folks. So no more calls. We went as high as we could. 225 meals we're doing next Wednesday. That's maxed out for my kitchen staff. So so no more phone calls, please. And pickup will be between 11 and 11:45. On Monday, the Monday before Thanksgiving, which is Monday, November 22nd, Senator John Velas will be at the Senior Center at 12:30 holding office hours in person inside. He'll be in the Fireside Lounge, but if you need some privacy, we'll have a room set up so that you can meet with him privately. There are no appointments necessary. You can just drop in. So we're very excited to welcome Senator Velas back inside. Channel 15, we have some really great programming during the month of November. I would be remiss if I didn't say, especially on this Veterans Day, that we have Sarah the Fiddler doing her performance. That's a great performance, Pete. I've been watching that on Channel 15.
Yep.
I keep watching a little bit at a time, so I'm working my way through it. Sarah it's called Honoring Veterans, Giving Thanks. So Sarah performed honoring veterans, which she used to perform up at the Soldiers Home and is very, really tuned in with vets and their needs. And also threw in some, it's Thanksgiving month as well. So giving thanks and honoring veterans. So it's a great performance. Pete airs it on Channel 15 every Wednesday. So it'll be on this afternoon at 2:40. And then Saturday evenings at 6 o'clock, it'll also be aired Veterans Day, and it'll be aired on Thanksgiving. So please tune in. And I know he kind of throws it in there.
We've also been airing something from the Small Planet Dancers, too, right?
I did know that. I saw
World
that
War
as
II.
well, and I was actually kind of surprised when I saw that, and I went, because we had the Small Planet Dancers, and they did the World War II. Did they? Yeah, it was the World War II
Yeah.
performance at the Senior Center pre-COVID, of course. I think we did that for one Mother's Day, and my seniors love them. They love when they come. So yeah, so that is on. Now, is that on Channel 15 or is it on YouTube or both?
Channel 15.
Channel
And
15.
I think I uploaded to YouTube. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think you did on YouTube as
Yeah.
well. So I was really excited about that. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just to let you know, we started selling tickets this week for the lottery ticket holiday fundraiser. This is through the Friends group. So the tickets are $5 for a sheet of 25 tickets. You can get them either at the greeter's desk. Sandra Fisher is busy selling them, and we also do it curbside through lunches. If you just want to come curbside and you're not ordering lunch, just come at 11:30. So that way you won't have to be in any kind of a line. So it's a Christmas box that is filled with gift tags, scotch tape, tissue paper, Christmas cards, boxed Christmas cards that you can send out. So those are all the things that you're going to give to other people. But then there are also $100 worth of lottery tickets, which you can either keep for yourself or you might want to give some of the lottery tickets away. They're in various denominations. There are some $1, some $2, some $5, a couple of $10 and one $20. So it's a really nice package. As I said, it's a fundraiser for the Friends group, and the Friends group has been just amazingly supportive of they were supportive of us anyway, but during COVID have paid for the entertainment that you're enjoying on Channel 15. They paid for some of the fitness instructors on Channel 15. They've paid for all kinds of upgrades to the senior center, and of course the most recent being our lovely sliding glass front door, contactless sliding glass front door. So hopefully you'll support our lottery ticket holiday fundraiser. We'll be selling tickets until Thanksgiving, and we will draw the winner on Thanksgiving Day. It is 7:03. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC cable channel 15. Let's take a short break.
What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, do you know I got it? All I'm asking is for a little respect when you come home. Just a little bit, hey, baby, just a little bit. Just a little bit, mister, just a little bit. I ain't gonna do you wrong while you gone. I ain't gonna do you wrong 'cause I don't wanna. All I'm asking is for a little respect when you come home. Just a little bit, baby, just a little bit. Just a little bit, just a little bit. I'm out to give you all my money, and all I'm asking in return, honey, is to give me my breakfast when you get home. Just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. Ooh, your kisses, sweeter than honey. And guess what? So is my money. All I want you to do for me is give it to me when you get home. Yeah, baby, whip it to me. Just a little bit now, just a little bit. R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T, T-K-F-T-C-T. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, little respect. Sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me. Woo! Just a little bit, little respect. Just a little bit. I'll get tired. Just a little bit. Keep on trying. Just a little bit. You're running out of food. Just a little bit. I ain't lying. Just a little bit. Respect me. When you're home. What you say?
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:06. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
So a couple of announcements before we bring our guest on in just a couple of minutes. I just want to remind folks that tomorrow is Veterans Day, so all city offices are closed. The senior center is closed, so obviously no meal tomorrow. And also, we are not going to be serving a curbside meal on Friday. Instead, when you call in this morning, you can order today's meal, or you can order an extra meal, which you can eat either tomorrow or Friday, or you can order both, and we will do curbside for both. This is our dress rehearsal for, an impending snowstorm, which, as you might remember from last year, if we know that a snowstorm is coming and we have a little bit of notice, we will also often try to do multiple meals on one day so that everybody is fed during that. And so this is our dry run. We haven't done this in a year, so we thought we better practice before the first snowflakes actually start falling. So again, when you call in this morning, you can order one meal today. You can order an extra meal, or you can order both. And we will be doing that curbside today. So just that reminder. So that one's that. Hearing aid batteries, just to let you know, we've had some really generous donations from some of our seniors. They've donated some hearing aid batteries. So if you are in need, we have them in size 10, 13, and 312. They're available at the greeter's desk. Just ask Sandra. She's actually really great about if she notices someone wearing a hearing aid, she'll let them know that we have some batteries. So they're all bagged up and ready to go. So feel free to ask for that. We also have an abundance of incontinence supplies available. Some people have been taking advantage of that, which is wonderful. Those are very expensive. We know that. So I don't really want them on my shelves. I want them in your homes. If that's something that would benefit you or a family member, please give us a call, 562-6435. Let us know what you need, and we will have the bag ready for you when you come. You can either pick it up curbside at 11:30 at the end of lunch, or you can come in and get it. We'll leave it at the front desk for you. So feel free. We have the pull-up style. We have pads. We have incontinence pads. And then we have like the Chucks pads, the large ones that go either on a wheelchair or in a bed or, in a favorite chair or sofa. So all of that, it's free of charge. It's donated to us. So we just act as the middleman. We distribute. So feel free. Bingo, remember, is every Friday from 1 to 2:30. You do need to sign up in advance for that. And sign up begins on Thursdays at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I think we have some of our bingo people, I think they set their alarm clock because, Thursday at 10:01, the phone is ringing. They're signing up for bingo. So feel free to do that. Gift card bingo this month will be next Friday, the 19th, because the Friday, of course, after Thanksgiving will be closed. And we do gift card bingo on the last Friday of the month. So this month it's going to be early. It'll be next week from Friday. So, and that is this month. It's sponsored by City Councilor Cindy Harris. So
cool.
Yeah. So, and Cindy, I have to say, Councilor Harris is right out there for her constituents. She was getting bombarded with phone calls about Medicare, and she got in touch with us, and she said, Tina, I just want to make sure that I'm giving out the right information.
Sure. Yeah.
So we gave her a little tutorial on exactly what we had talked about earlier in the show, so that she's giving out the right information. All right. It is 7:10. My guest is in the bullpen, waiting in the wings, so we're going to bring her on.
Okay, so I have a video of your next song.
Do you really?
They did a collaboration last year with the original singer of the song and the United States Marine Corps
Oh, that's awesome.
or Army band.
Okay. So,
one of the services band.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, let's watch and listen as they sing God Bless the USA in honor of Veterans Day. We'll be back.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife.
I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me.
And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt
I love this land. God bless the USA.
God bless the USA.
From the lakes of Minnesota
To the hills of Tennessee,
across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me.
And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today.
'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
God bless this country.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up
next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
God bless, please bless the USA.
Support for community radio on WSKB provided by Westfield Electroplating. Employing over 140 skilled platers, painters, and technicians, Westfield Electroplating was founded in 1946 and was the first company in the country to achieve National Aerospace and Defense Contractor Program accreditation, proudly maintaining that status for over a decade. Westfield Electroplating provides over 50 quality finishes to meet your corrosion, cosmetic, or performance needs. On the web at www.westfieldplating.com or 413-568-3716. Westfield Electroplating, putting the finishing touches on technology.
Join us the third Wednesday of every month with Selectman Joe Didi and his take on everything Southwick.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:15. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I am in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board, Pete Coles, who I can't see anymore. So, there you are, Pete. So, the jacket's on, the jacket's off. I feel like it's warm, it's cold, it's warm, it's cool. So I think the heating system is just adjusting here.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And my guest this morning is Marianne Shelb, Director of Business Development with Jewish Geriatric Services. Do I have all that right?
Right. So we actually rebranded to JGS Life Care. So
JGS Life Care. I love that. You know what? We use acronyms all the time, and I always make my guests break them down. Pete, you were throwing around a bunch of acronyms before with the dispatch thing going on there.
I said them all.
I know you did. I know you did.
Follow my own rules.
What's really hard is when I have the medical docs in here and the nurses, and they start throwing around, and I have to keep going. Okay, stop, hold it. We have Joe Sixpack out there who doesn't know what we're talking about here, so we gotta figure this out. So JGS, which really was Jewish Geriatric Services, but
Correct.
Just saying.
Correct.
Just saying. Okay, so Marianne, usually this is your first time on the show, so welcome and thank you for coming. It's really nice to have you here. It's nice to see you after it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Thank you for having me. It's really good to see you too.
Very welcome. So, we usually start especially when I have a new guest and my viewers are not familiar with the person, to talk a little bit about your background and, where you're from and where were you born and where did you grow up and where did you go to school. And I always say this, I'm sure when you were in the third grade, you didn't say to your teacher when she said, "What do you want to be when I grow up?" "Oh, I want to be the director of business development somewhere." I'm sure that didn't come out. So let's talk about your background and then how you ended up where you are. So you have the floor. Go ahead.
Sure. No, I did not think that when I was that young I was going to be in elder care. I literally thought when I was growing up I was going to be a fashion designer, or should I say that my mother wanted me to be a fashion designer.
Really?
So,
now, why was that?
She loved clothes. She was very petite. She was very tiny, so she had to have a lot of her clothes made or tailored.
Oh, wow.
So I did end up, drawing some designs and having them made. So, I started it for a very, very short amount of time. It was fun. It was very fun. I still have them, literally.
You know what? I could so see you doing that. This is why I love this show, because I get my guests on and then I find out all these things about them that I never knew.
I don't think anybody knows that, as a matter of fact.
But
and
I
the
could
fact that I
so
just said
see you
that.
doing that. So you've got that creative side.
I do. I'm very creative. I like to be able to express it in some way, shape, or form. So, but no, I started a career, believe it or not, in manufacturing. For 20 years I did. And, I loved that, as a matter of fact. And I ended up leaving that. I started a wellness center. I think you know about that. And then when I had the wellness center, left manufacturing, I had done the wellness center part-time, full-time. And then I remember when my kids, it was great. I have 4 kids. So when my kids were small, it was great because, instead of paying daycare charges, I actually stayed home and then did the wellness center out of the house. So it was great because I was able to make a little money plus save the money for daycare. So that worked for us. And then when they were getting a little bit older and they didn't necessarily need me to go into school or to bring them or to have story time, it was like, all right, so now, what am I doing? Do I do the, wellness center full time? And at the time, this was years ago, it wasn't necessarily the most
lucrative.
Yeah, right. So it wasn't,
wasn't a huge moneymaker.
Not back then.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. I remember my husband saying, all you need to do is get like a part-time marketing job because you're great at marketing. Sorry.
Do you want to adjust it? Yeah, that's
I know.
Okay.
I'm not really
There's
sure
slipping.
how
You know
to-
what we'll do is we can readjust at the break
Okay,
and
perfect.
maybe get you a different set.
Perfect. So part-time marketing. All right, where do I look for that? And in the meantime, I'm all about, connecting people. So I had started my own networking group. And I remember one person from the networking group worked in elder care, and her assistant was leaving, and she needed somebody part-time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I really liked Sharon. And I'm like, yeah, totally. I'll absolutely do it.
I'll do it. I'm hired.
All right.
I hired myself.
I went, and literally there was barely like an interview process. We knew each other well.
Yeah, great.
I went in for the formalities, and then I started, and it was like, oh, well, I kind of like this. I kind of like working.
What was
with
it?
the
Well, let me just
elders.
ask you, Marianne, what was your when you went to college? I assume, or
For accounting.
yeah, that's what I was going to ask. What was your degree? No, where did you go to school?
So St. John's. Do you remember St. John's in West Springfield? So literally.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
A business school.
Wow. Yeah, it was
Yes.
a business school.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So accounting certification.
Got it.
I mean, I liked it at the time.
Yep.
Right? And I thought that would be great. I was working in manufacturing and I was running the office. I was doing payroll. I was doing their books. So it worked, right?
Yeah.
And then it was like, that's not what I think I want.
Okay.
Very black and white, and I wanted a little bit of color in there. And when I was working in elder care, I was like, this is more, it feeds the soul a little bit more than just the numbers.
Yep.
So I grew to really love it. I grew to really love the elders. I grew to really, when they're talking and when they're telling their stories, they really just want somebody to listen to their stories. And a lot of people don't have time, right?
Yeah.
You know this. You're working with elders.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved being able to just sit there and or listen to the families and be that solution when they thought they had a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great to be able to just sit, and it was easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that worked. That worked.
Well,
and
that's
then,
amazing.
yeah, from there I went from assistant to the manager to the director, and and the rest is a little bit of history.
A little bit of history. So, are you originally from this area, or?
Born and raised in Ludlow, Mass.
Oh, in Ludlow. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good. And then, and you have 4 children. Now, are they
children.
local now? I can't. It's like, where are they?
I know. So my oldest is in California, and then son, and then that's Vinny, and then Megan is in North Carolina, right? Daughter, next in line, and then Jared next, and then Mason are still at home, but Jared's finished up college and he's going to be moving out momentarily, and then
let's see, what
one
time is it?
one
Yeah,
can
wait.
only hope. No, and then
Hey, listen, just because I'm going to tell you right now, I have one, but just because they move out doesn't mean, I have one who moved
we're downsizing
to Plymouth and Florida and to Plymouth. And I keep saying to her, I'm going to turn your bedroom into a sewing room. And then COVID hit. And here she is back in her bedroom. Which,
Well, right. Both the boys were in college, and then they come back because now college is all remote, and it's like, oh, wait, I was going to use that room.
Exactly. What now?
I know. So it was a little,
okay.
it was, I got to know them a lot more than I thought I knew them, which was very interesting. People are like, you're a very social person. How did you manage COVID? And it's like, I had a lot of fun being home with my family, and I got to know my 2 younger boys really well, and it was kind of fun.
And you kind of get to know them as adults too. They're different people than when you sent them off to college.
20 and 23. They're not kids,
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. And then Mason, the youngest, he's in UMass and he's a junior, so he'll actually
back on campus now, right?
He's doing.
Well, I mean,
So he's
can
not
do
remote,
both?
but he's
Hybrid?
commuting. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So
good. So that is great. So now. Let's go. I just want to go back to the wellness for a minute because I think that definitely feeds into what you're doing now.
Yes.
How did you get involved in the wellness piece, and what exactly? How did that start?
I know. So
we went from accounting to like opening a wellness center. It's like, wait, where did that?
So I had a little bit of a health challenge early on, and doctors were saying, there's, no cure.
Yeah,
this is what's
nothing
gonna
we
happen.
can do.
Yeah, nothing we can do. And I didn't like that answer, and I was going to have that answer. I had more to do, and I had things that I wanted. And so I remember my sister telling me about Reiki, and literally, okay, remember, black and white brain, right? So I'm like, Reiki, what the hell is that?
Right.
Somebody's going to wave their hands over me, and I'm going to feel better. Oh, yeah, right. And she said, give it a chance. Try it. It can't hurt.
Yep.
And the person that was going to do it was a friend, a mutual friend. So I knew her, and I didn't think she was weird or anything, because when you think of holistic health, sometimes you think things are weird. And I knew Donna, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll try it, whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember going through a few sessions and then feeling better and then stopping and then, not feeling better and then, talking to her, like, why did I start to feel better? And then what happened? And she's like, well, you started to, clear, the energy, the chakras. And I didn't know what she was talking about. And I said, okay. She says, you need to, try to, see if you could commit to me for like 6 months. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what, whatever. Because I did feel better. So there was that. So I figured, why not? And I did. I actually signed up. My sister had bought me 3 sessions because she knew I wouldn't do it myself,
Yeah.
And once I did that, though, it's like, yep, I signed up for 6 months. I remember going back to the doctor, and the doctor's like, it's gone. I'm like, what do you mean it's gone? And I literally went back to her and I'm like, what did you do to me? And you have to explain everything. And I became this sponge for years, and I studied for years under different masters and different teachers. And I wanted to know everything there was to know about Reiki and holistic health and why it helps people and how it helps people. And everybody on the face of the planet should know what it is. So that's
Interesting.
hence the Wellness Center.
There it is. Well, I never knew where that came from because I always kind of felt like that was like something out of left field over here. How did that happen?
But
I
it's
think
a
a lot
personal
of
experience.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that are in holistic healthcare start because of a personal. I'm married to a chiropractor, so I've got this,
That's
this
right.
whole
Absolutely.
thing. But same, he played football, he did sports in high school, had an injury, and the funny thing was when before Gary and I got married, when we were dating, and he talked about wanting to, he was up in the air about what he wanted to do career-wise, and he was in health. We went to college together down in Virginia, and he was in healthcare. But he, should I go to physical therapy school? And he ultimately decided he wanted to be a chiropractor. And I remember thinking, well, I should probably find out like what you do, like what it was the same. Like I didn't have a personal experience with that.
Right.
So I didn't even know what a chiropractor was. It was like, well, what does that mean? What do you do? And so it was a learning curve. And now, then we got married, he went to chiropractic school, and I felt like we all went to chiropractic school, all the spouses, this is a team effort. But you're right. And I think a lot of people like yourself, it starts from a personal experience, but I think it's one of those things too, Marianne, where it just, you can just incorporate that into any facet and any work experience, because I think the connection and, obviously that really has a lot to play into what you're doing today and working with older adults. So,
and I've always been able to bring a facet of the holistic health to where I am. Yeah. So at JGS Life Care, we've got sensory rooms in our memory neighborhoods. We actually offer Reiki and massage, and actually we were awarded a grant that we're going to bring in aromatherapy, and we're going to bring in all these holistic pieces to help those with memory loss, with a higher level of memory loss. So I'm all excited, and I get to call all my contacts and say, hey, I need, creative, so art and creative crafts. So I love the fact that I can call an art therapist and say, I need to hire you for, a year, once a month, can you come in? Or the aromatherapist, and once a month, can you come in? And I'm able to keep that alive.
Perfect.
And they appreciate the fact that it does help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Yeah.
All right. You know what? Let's take this. This was a lot to digest, and I want to give our viewers like a little breathing room because I really want to dive into the services that are provided with JGS. This is going to be hard for me to remember the initials because I'm so used to Jewish Geriatric Services. But I want to talk about that whole life care, concept and what you're doing out there. So let's take a short break. Let me find my little cheat sheet here. This is a song by John Conley. It's in honor of Military Family Month, and it's called They Also Serve. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My guest this morning is Marianne Shelb. We'll be back right after this break.
She kisses little Katie's forehead as she turns out the light. A night ahead in a lonely bed, she's a military wife. She pushes back a tear, then sinks into a chair. Her mind says that's the way it is. Her heart says it ain't fair. She knows the price of sacrifice, but she's proud to take her place in that unsung corps of warriors who stay behind and wait. They also serve those who stand and wait, praying by the foe to learn their loved one's fate. But they're still in the war, and let there be no mistake. They also serve those who stand and wait. Jake climbs on the school bus, marches bravely to his seat. His dad's not home to say so long like his friends along the street. He has to be the man at home as long as daddy's gone. He promised him the day he left that he'd be brave and strong. So he tells his little sister, don't you worry, daddy's coming home. He's 8 years old, he's a soldier son, and he can hold his own. They also serve those who stand and wait, praying by the phone to learn their loved one's fate. But they're still in the war, and let there be no mistake. They also serve those who stand and wait. Mothers and fathers, daughters and sons, they don't wear a uniform or carry a gun, but they're still in the war. They also serve those who stand and wait, praying by the phone to learn their loved one's fate. But they're still in the war, and let there be no mistake. They also serve those who stand and wait.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield. Underwriting for community radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:33. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses, and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with Marianne Shelp, Director of Business Development at JGS, Life Care Campus of Care. So welcome again, Marianne. I know that's a lot of a title there. So JGS has, it's this campus of care concept. Do I have that right?
Yes, it's 23 acres located in Longmeadow.
Okay, so let's talk about what is on this 23 acres. I'm going to let you kind of break this down because there's a lot going on there, like a whole lot going on there.
There is, and a lot of people don't realize there's 23 acres. We're right on Converse Street, and we're set up almost like a CCRC, right? So it's a continuing care retirement community. However, we don't have that buy-in, right? So I think it's interesting that people don't realize we're there to begin with, don't realize that one entity is related to the other. And then when I tell them, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how big. And of course, Jewish Geriatric Services, and then we rebranded to JGS Life Care. So we're like new over and over again. Mm-hmm. But the Levitt Family Jewish Home has always been there, right? So, I mean, we started in 1912, right? So there was 13, the Daughters of Zion started in Springfield with a home for the aged, right? So they wanted to make sure they took care of, so the Jewish, right? So we're based on Jewish values, right? Okay. Serving all faiths, but we're based on Jewish values. And the Jewish values are really taking care of their elders. So the Daughters of Zion really kind of took their elders in and took care of them. From there, moved to the location on Converse Street. We've been there for, we are 105 years old, I think. This is a long time. And the Levitt Family Jewish Home is still intact. Of course, we've gone through renovations, and we actually built, of course, our new Sawson Center for Rehabilitation, which is the only greenhouse model of rehabilitation in Western Mass. But the Levitt Family Jewish Home has long-term care, right, and has 2 memory neighborhoods. So those who are, are exit-seeking residents, they can have a safe, secure environment and enriching and engaging for them. And then the Sawson Center for Rehabilitation is strictly short-term care, right? So that's you're in, you're out, you go back home, or maybe you go to an assisted living. But those are the short-term stays. But it's beautiful. It's got all private rooms, all private bathrooms. The greenhouse model is set up like a home. So you've got...
That was my next question, because you've used that term about 3 times now, the greenhouse model, and I think, none of us really know what that means. So explain
Right, I know.
that.
People are like, are there a lot of plants
Well,
in
I
there?
know, exactly. That was my thought. It's like, oh, is it all glass? Well,
There is a lot of glass, and you walk in, there's 2 houses. So they're stacked on top of each other. So there's 12 and 12, and it's all private rooms, all private baths. It's got a big kitchen, almost like you would think of as a family. So there's a kitchen in the center. There's a big dining room. It's home-like setting. So you've got a big, table from Pottery Barn, right? So you've got home-like decor. When you go in, it doesn't look like a rehabilitation. It looks like a home. We want you to get better in a home-like setting, because then your ideal is to go back home, right? You're not going to stay in a nursing home. You're not going to stay long-term care. You're going to get better, do the things that you need to do to get better, and practice on the things. Do you have to do laundry? Do you have to, load and unload a dishwasher?
Cook a meal.
Exactly. So we're going to do all that to help you get back home and be successful. And the greenhouse model, the small house model, is built to be very home-like. They take the institution out of the rehabilitation. And what we do, greenhouse has to be new construction, which is the Sawson Center, and you can't call an old building a greenhouse, but you can incorporate the values, and then we call the Levitt Family Jewish Home the legacy building. So we have all the same values in the neighborhoods and the small and the home-like incorporated through our long-term care as well.
I think that, I used to, when I was teaching at Springfield College, we used to talk about nursing homes, and I said that is the biggest misnomer, because nursing homes at the time that they were started, which was back in the 1950s, were anything but home-like.
Of course.
Very institutional. The long hallways, the nurses' stations down at the end of each hallway, everybody was on a wing, everybody was numbered.
Right.
And I think that over the last, certainly over the last 10, but even over the last 25 years, we have seen the change of, we know that doesn't work for people. It's not, it just, even from us, forget the physical piece of it, but just from a psychological and emotional standpoint, it just doesn't work. And that homey atmosphere, and we're seeing that, I think it took a little while to get to Western Massachusetts. We've seen it in some of the urban areas throughout the country.
Sure.
But just more of that it's like a whole different mindset, so that when people come in, and I think especially when you're doing rehab, and I've done rehab, I've worked in rehab settings, and the thing that I just loved to do this. I would say to my clients as soon as I met them, okay, so what are you here for? Well, I had a stroke or whatever, and I would always say to them, well, don't get comfortable. You're not staying here long,
right?
Because of course everyone's fear is I'm going to an institution and I'm never going home again.
Right.
And when it's short-term rehab, it's like, don't get comfy, because we're going to work hard while you're here in order for you to get back home, and with services in place if that's necessary, some family supports or whatever, but that's the goal. So you've got those 2 things going on. So the Levitt Family Jewish Home is really what we would think of more as traditional long-term care generally.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And you talked about a couple of memory neighborhoods.
Sure.
So talk to us a little bit about those memory neighborhoods. What does that mean?
So the memory neighborhoods, again, are secure, right? So you need to make sure they're secure for, our curious and exit-seeking residents. We want to make sure they're safe.
Yes, i.e. for those who like to wander. Let's put that in terms that Joe Q public can understand. So we know that people with dementia will often wander. They're seeking, they're looking. They're not sure where they want to go, but and and that can put them in a dangerous situation, especially in New England if you're wandering outside. I mean, we've certainly had that, for some of our seniors who wander out of the home, and we have neighbors calling us saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm so worried about my neighbor." So that's when you talk about a secure environment. It's that you don't have to worry about somebody wandering off and getting hurt.
Correct. So with that said, we also have specialized programming in place because you're not going to do an activity for a regular, member of the community as opposed to somebody who's got that higher, cognitive impairment. So we've got specialized activities and life enrichment folks that are geared more towards and trained specially for people with that higher level of memory loss. So the activities look a little different on those neighborhoods, something that they can relate to, that they can understand, that can engage them while still you want to maximize the memories that they still do have, right?
Absolutely.
So we want to maximize as much as possible.
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel like, they hear the diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's disease and they just think, this is like the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And, the reality is that there are certainly challenges, and I don't want to minimize that. But, there are a lot of really amazing activities that, that I've seen at some of these facilities, and you think, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. I mean, we've talked a lot at the Senior Center about incorporating music as a therapy, in a therapeutic way, art in a therapeutic way. They're all, there's art, there's music, but then there are therapeutic methods for utilizing those tools. And, you were talking about, some of the wholeness and the wellness and sort of the holistic factor. All of that works so well because we know things like touch generally works really well with people with cognitive issues. And so, if we can bring in, things like massage and Reiki and things like that, it's like, man, how great is that?
And then, like you said, with the art therapy, with the music therapy, for folks that have that higher level of memory loss, the music and the art, the creative side goes last, right?
Yeah.
So they hold on to that. Yeah. So you've seen the videos where, someone can't actually carry on a conversation, yet you put headphones on and you play a certain song and the gentleman can literally sing every single word to that song.
Yep.
He remembers it all.
Yep.
And he's dancing and you could tell that he just feels alive. So we've got a music and memory program.
Yep.
Just for that, and you load it. So when folks come in, they fill out a profile, a resident profile, where it's their likes, their dislikes. So we really get to know them on a personal level. We want to know who they were before they were diagnosed with, dementia, because then that way we want to see if we can bring some of that back out.
Absolutely. That's so important because by the time, you meet these folks, they may not have the verbal skills to be able to tell you what they did for a living, or, that I raised 8 children, or that I grew up on a farm, or, whatever. And those are absolutely the things that as, professionals you want to tap into, because those are things they'll be able to relate to.
Yes.
My dad had Alzheimer's, and I've been very open, in talking about that throughout the years. And my dad was a volunteer firefighter, among other things. And, it was interesting to tap into that with him. Now, people who worked with him later on, if we didn't tell them this is what he did, he was a chemical engineer, he worked for the Defense Department, for the government, there were a lot of facets to his life, but without them knowing that, he's somebody who really had a difficult time verbalizing, as he journeyed into his dementia. So it was really important. It's really great, I think, to get those profiles from family members and loved ones to be able to, really tap into that. So
correct.
Awesome. All right. So we've talked a little bit about the Leverett Family Jewish Home. We've talked about is it the Sosin Center for Rehabilitation? Is that how you pronounce it?
I say Sosin.
Sosin.
I think some people say Sosin, but I think it is a soft O.
Okay, Sosin. And then now what about Ruth's house? I'm a little familiar with that. I've known some folks that have been over there, but tell our viewers about Ruth's house.
So Ruth's House Assisted Living is both traditional assisted as well as memory care also.
Okay.
So it's a small little residence where a lot of times when you're looking at an assisted living, sometimes they're so big or they're so grandiose. You walk in and it looks like this absolutely gorgeous hotel.
It feels like a hotel.
And you've got the chandeliers in the foyer, and it's like, this is wonderful. But you're bringing mom and dad around, and they're like, I don't live here.
Yeah, I don't live in a hotel.
They can't relate
it's hard to relate.
Right. So again, home-like, right? So Hamish is the word in the Jewish tradition.
Hamish.
It means home-like and comfortable.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
We learned something new. Hamish. Okay.
So what we have is we have a smaller, only 64, right? So that's not a lot of units and not a lot of apartments. They're smaller and they're very home-like. And when you walk in, it's got a lot of courtyards and a lot of outdoor space because we want to make sure that people have outdoor time. Even on the memory level, we've got a completely secure big garden with a waterfall in the back and walking paths. So people don't think, and the way it's landscaped, you can't even see the fence. So when somebody's going out there, because there's a lot of early onset dementia where we never recognized that before, and we see so much of it more so now. We want to make sure that these folks have a place where they actually feel like they're living a life, as opposed to if they're seeing fences and they feel like they're in a cage.
Right.
We want them to live their life.
Yeah.
We want them to look at the waterfall and look at the park benches and think they're in this gorgeous park.
Yep.
So they're going to go out and they're going to walk and they're going to watch the birds and they're going to feed the birds. They're going to fill the bird feeder where, maybe they're going to make bird feeders. They're going to paint bird feeders. They're going to fill them and they're going to put them out themselves. We want them to be creative in that way and feel like this is a part of them and they can really see themselves growing, even though, right, dementia is you're declining, right? It doesn't get better. We want them to still have 100% of life while they're with us. And then the traditional assisted, our life enrichment director, literally we've got testimonials from people that say, you need to just publish your activities calendar. Nobody realizes what they can do. We have pictures of some of, we can't take pictures of all of them.
Sure.
Literally, we had a slip and slide for the adults.
Oh, boy.
Literally a slip and slide with this big blow up duck that you could safely sit in that we helped the residents into. They had a blast.
Yeah, who wouldn't have fun with that? I mean,
Right?
it's like being a kid again.
And they had root beer floats in one hand and they're sliding down.
Letting your hair down.
It was hysterical.
Yeah.
But what she does with the activities, I give her a lot of credit. She's so creative and she just keeps bringing in new and different and really engaging activities.
It's so fun. It's so fun I know I've had folks from Armbrook Village, from Beth Cardillo's program on, and from the Arbors, and it is so fun to listen to the creative ideas, because I can tell you, I've been in this field since the late 1970s, and we were not doing slip and slides with root beer floats, and it was like, okay, activities, bingo. It was like, we're going to do a read aloud. It was, it just seemed like we were so limited, and now it's like the sky's the limit.
You really have to get creative because people, they want to stay home, right? So when you think about when they want to stay home, why do they want to stay home? So you have to bring that home-like environment to your residents.
And I'm sure during the pandemic, it took this to a whole different level in terms of creativity. I know it certainly did for us, and we were so fortunate to have our producer Pete Coles, who has worked with us with Channel 15, because we've had, we had so many seniors that were not tech savvy.
Right.
Some of them didn't even own a computer. They didn't own a smartphone, and so you're trying to figure out, how do you reach people at home in a city? I've got like over 8,000 seniors in the city of Westfield. And so our cable Channel 15 became, I think that for us was the silver lining, that we realized that we have a lot of people, we have a lot of caregivers at home who can't get down to the center, even with it being open. And they have taken advantage of, we have fitness programs every day on Channel 15. And I have people who say, like every Tuesday and Thursday, I have one woman who said, my husband uses a wheelchair. I wheel him in there. We do, this exercise class and that exercise class. He does it the best that he can.
Sure.
And, we've done art stuff. We have entertainment. We've done educational programs. And I know the assisted livings had to do the same thing, because people were, kind of the same as everyone. You were in your apartments, in your rooms, and trying to reach people and make it fun and engaging. I know that's been challenging.
It was a challenge for sure, and especially when people were quarantined to their rooms, right? What do you do? Well, they were bringing around an activities cart, and they were going room to room. They did a lot, and you were mentioning, Beth. I know Beth very well, and the Arbors. What's nice about our community here in Western Mass is we've got an organization called the RMDA, which is the Retirement Marketing Directors Association, which actually our sales director at Ruth's House runs. And all of the assisted livings really work together. If they don't have space or room, or they don't have a dementia apartment, they'll call, hey, they'll put it out on an email blast.
Yeah,
what do you have? We need to serve this senior. So it's not a competitive market as opposed to what's the best for who we're serving.
Kind of a collaborative
so it
effort.
really works
And
well.
I think, Marianne, that it's true that I think the different facilities have different flavors.
Yes.
And I see it even with some of the folks that I work with. It's like some of them, it's like, yep, I could see you over here. Yep, no, I could see you over here. There are so many different reasons. Sometimes it's just geographic location.
Right. People don't like to cross the river.
Yeah, and but the other thing too is like I had even within Westfield. So Beth's is up on the north side, and I've got the Arbors that's closer to downtown, and I have one woman who I'm working with now, who has a relative at Armbrook. So I just assumed when the time came, and she said, no, if the time comes for me, I want to be at the Arbors just because it's closer to downtown. She said, if I'm still driving.
Yes.
Because if I'm still driving, I want to be, because that's the area of town that she's familiar with. Now, she said, if I'm not driving and I'm just using, shuttle services or whatever, then it doesn't matter as much. It'll be where the availability is. So it's interesting to see how people, kind of weigh all that out.
Absolutely.
My guest, if you're just joining us, is Marianne Shelb. Marianne is Director of Business Development with JGS, Life Care Campus of Care. We've talked a little bit about Levitt Family Jewish Home, Sawson Center for Rehab. We just talked about Ruth's Home. Tell us a little bit about Wernick Adult Day Health, because I think Adult Day Health is one of those services and programs that a lot of people just aren't even aware that it's out there. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Wernick is one of the first adult day health programs in this area. It's still going strong. We, of course, had to downsize a little bit due to COVID, but I think they're back up to their normal numbers now, which is great because it was hard because you couldn't service people.
Yeah.
And we felt bad because we could only have a certain amount in. But Wernick Adult Day, think about it like if mom or dad was living with you and then you still had a job and you really didn't want them to stay home alone because they're just sitting there or they're watching TV or they're staring out the window. Depression sets in and anxiety sets in and they just grow older more quickly when they're isolated. So what you do is we have transportation we can pick up and bring to the program, and we specialize in folks with that higher level of dementia and Alzheimer's. And then they have this engaging day, right? And they're safe and they're secure. You can go to work. You don't have to worry about it. And then they get dropped back off, or you could drop off as well.
Yeah.
But it's just a place where you could feel safe. We could do some, nursing. We could do meals, so we can do, I don't know. They don't necessarily have therapy there, but we work with Spectrum, which we'll get into a little bit later. But there's nursing, staffed nurses
available
on the campus, and they're at Wernick.
I think the other thing too, a couple things that I want to point out about Adult Day Health, which I think is incredibly important. One is that it offers a lot of structure, and I know some people, families, have thought that they could use senior centers for, I'll just drop mom. As soon as I hear somebody on the phone saying, well, we've never been there, I would like to just drop my mother off. And the red flags, it's like bing, 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 hold the fort.
Yeah.
Then I start digging into what mom's level of functioning is. And I'm very clear about the fact that senior centers do not have the staffing to provide, all of that structure. It's, people come, they go, they participate in what they want to. I have steered a lot of people into Adult Day Health saying, or sometimes we'll have folks that come to the senior center and we'll be on the phone with the family saying this person really needs more structure.
Sure.
My experience is that if we have someone who's been coming, and this is not just in Westfield, this is not unique to Westfield Senior Center, this would be across the board for senior centers, but if we have folks that have been coming in for a long period of time and we start to see some cognitive decline, they tend to be okay for a while because being at the senior center is already part of their routine. And they've also developed a support system within the center, and those people are looking out for them and kind of taking care of them and assisting them. But if it's somebody who is already, journeying into dementia and they've never been here before, that's a whole different ballgame. They don't have that system in place. They're not familiar, and they really need structure. They need a place where there's more staffing, and oftentimes where there is some nursing service.
Yes.
In order to, to really maximize their care.
Absolutely.
So, now, in your in Warnick, that's the name of it, Warnick Adult Day Health. Do people have to come every day, Marianne, or can they come, twice a week, 3 times a week, something
they
like
can
that?
pick whatever they want. Some people start with 1 day a week. They just try it on for size. They make sure mom is, going to get used to that type of a schedule. Then all of a sudden they realize mom loves it.
This is great.
She waits for the bus to pick her up. So can we go another day? And it's like, sure. So people can go either once or the full week. It's really up to them.
And I don't know if you see this at Warnick, but the other thing that we've experienced is it's a wonderful respite for spouses who are caregivers. It gives them a couple of days a week to go to the hairdresser, go do your grocery shopping, go to the bank, get together with your girlfriends, go play bridge.
Yes. And if we have room, right, you can actually do a respite where if you want to just do 1 week of just kind of having the days off, then we can do it. As long as we've got room, we'll take somebody more on a part-time basis than a permanent basis.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'm looking at the clock, so I don't want to, and I blew through the last break, which I know Pete is okay with because I didn't want to interrupt you. So we'll just end a minute or two early, but talk about Spectrum Home Health because you mentioned Spectrum. So what is that?
So Spectrum is our VNA service, right? So it's home health and hospice. So when people get discharged from the hospital or maybe a rehab, they need to go home with services. Maybe they need physical therapy. Maybe they need nursing services. Maybe they've got wound care. Maybe they need just occupational services, really kind of remembering how to, make the breakfast, make the lunch, right?
Yeah.
So anything from, or even maybe speech. If they had a stroke, maybe there's some speech therapy that needs to happen. So people can get discharged with Spectrum. Spectrum can go to the home, can go to an assisted living, right? So they have nurses in place. They have all the therapy. So physical therapists, occupational therapists, as well as speech and nursing. And then we also go all the way up to hospice care. So Spectrum Hospice is like this whole different division where, as a matter of fact, personally, I used that for my mother as she was passing. And I'll tell you, I've never experienced hospice, right? I never watched anybody pass before. But I'll tell you, they make it a peaceful process, and they really work with the families, and they follow up with the families after the person has passed. And, my mom had said, I didn't want to have any intervention at one point when it was kind of too late. And she's like, I'm ready to go. And to make them as peaceful and comfortable as possible, I really relied on those nurses and the executive director, of course, who's now the executive director of Ruth's House, Maddie. She's wonderful. She's compassionate, and all her nurses and all her staff are kind, and it's really something to watch. They not only have the home care, the home health, the hospice, but they also include palliative care. So sometimes, you're still getting better. Palliative care, so there's a difference between palliative and hospice. Hospice is end times, right? But hospice could last a long time.
Yep.
Palliative is really where there's still intervention where you're getting better and you could feel stronger. So they really do, they run the gamut of trying to help people get stronger in their home being in the community or in an assisted living.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we had a guest on last week and we were talking about hospice and volunteering for the a hospice program.
Yes.
So, Marianne Shelb, first of all, I'm going to ask this question because I know that there are viewers saying, well, if I wanted to participate in any of these, do I have to be Jewish?
No. As a matter of fact,
I think we need to get that out there. I should have probably gotten that out there right at the beginning because I'm sure I know I've got people saying, oh, that sounds so great, but I'm not Jewish. I can't go there.
No,
that's not the case.
It
right?
is not the case at all. When we first started, I think our population was mostly, if not all, Jewish. And now, to be honest, there's probably maybe 25% Jewish population, and the rest are mixed.
It's just everything.
It's so we
services.
say guided by Jewish values, serving all faiths.
There you go.
So we
like
don't.
that.
And when I got hired, I remember when I first got hired, it's like, I'm not Jewish. Is that okay? But
Can I work here?
But they bring in, other services. I remember I'm Catholic, and they brought in, on Ash Wednesday, I got ashes from a Catholic priest. So,
there you go.
So they honor all. There's a rabbi on staff, Devorah Jacobson, and she really works with all of the local, faiths to bring them in to really have the services on our campus for everybody that, whoever the clientele we have at the time.
Sure.
Right?
And my last question, because we are out of time now, is how would people, if they want more information, Marianne, give us a phone number, what do they do, who do they call?
Sure. So for the Levitt Family Jewish Home and the Sossin Center would be 413-567-6211.
Okay.
And then if you want Ruth's house, you're looking at, and then actually that number would also be for Spectrum or Wernick, right? So that's on the main building.
So all of sort of the health care pieces.
Yes. And then Ruth's house has its own number, 413-567-6212. And that's Ruth's house directly. And then they can call, they could ask for me. I'd love to be able to answer any questions they may have. They could transfer the phone over to me, and even to do a tour. What would you like to see?
Yeah,
So
I think that would be the other
campus.
piece, especially for
Yes.
families that are watching. So my guest this morning has been Marianne Shelba, and your title is Director of Business Development
Correct.
with JGS Services.
Like it.
So if people wanted to call you, Marianne, what's your phone number?
413-310-4693. And that's direct to me.
Okay, and that's direct to Marianne. I want to thank you so much. I mean, I feel like we could probably have spent about 4 hours talking about each one of these programs, but it's so fascinating. And this is located right in Longmeadow.
Yes.
It is across the river, folks, but it's not across the country, okay? It's really not that far.
Right,
So, all right, have a great week. Again, remember, tomorrow is Veterans Day. Also, remember, we have brown bag food distribution this morning at the Senior Center. Between 9 and 10. Please be respectful of that time frame, and we'll be back next week.
Over hill, over dale, we will hit the dusty trail, and those caissons go rolling along. In and out, hear them shout, counter marching all about, and those caissons go rolling along. For it's high, high in the field artillery. Count out the numbers, now let's count. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And wherever you go, you will always know that those caissons go rolling along. Anchors away, my boys. Anchors away. Farewell to college joys. We sail and break on day, 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 day. Through our last night on shore. Hail to the fall. Until we meet once more, here's wishing you a happy voyage home. We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. Through howling gale and shot and shell to win our victory. Send bird Miraculous is our guide, our pledge, our motto true. We're always ready, do or die. I constantly fight for you. Up we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sky. Here they come, shooting to lead our thunder. And boys, give her the gun. And we dive, starting a flame from under, up with one terrible roar. We live in faith, or we're down in flame, for nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. shore.